As Dr. Ben Carson stands before a responsive audience, he articulates a point that resonates deeply with many, emphasizing the crucial role the private sector can play in providing essential support like daycare centers for mothers striving to further their education. He delves into the challenges faced by young mothers, particularly those who halt their education upon childbirth, which often perpetuates a cycle of poverty. Carson passionately argues for societal intervention to break this cycle, stressing our collective obligation to act.
I think people can probably understand. In my case, I spent my entire career trying to preserve life and give people quality of life, even operating on babies in the womb, operating all night long sometimes on premature babies. And I get to meet those people, when they're adults and productive adults. There is no way you can convince me that they're not important, that they're just a mass of cells and that you can do anything to them.
I want to ask you this. Have you met with the women who have to make these horrendous decisions when they have to make them of whether or not they can bring a child into the world? I mean, we talk about bringing children into the world all the time, but periodically some women feel, I just can't. And are you empathetic to them? Because we just had a...
In the midst of his speech, Dr. Carson references numerous studies supporting the link between poverty and children born out of wedlock. His arguments are not just statistical, they're a call to action, aiming to shift societal norms and responsibilities. He mentions prominent commentators like Ben Shapiro and Ann Coulter, who have echoed similar sentiments, highlighting the crucial need for both parental figures in a child's life for their successful development.
Very empathetic, and what I have said is that this is a job for us in the private sector. What we need to do is make sure that we provide adequate daycare centers for these mothers so that they can get their GED, their associate's degree, their bachelor's degree, their master's degree.
You're assuming that these are mothers who aren't educated. I mean, I'm talking about women who make that. Of them. I don't know that you can.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you a fact. Let me tell you a fact. The fact is, a lot of those young girls who are having babies out of wedlock, when they have that first baby, they stop their education. And that child is 4 times as likely to grow up in poverty. We as a society have an obligation to do what's necessary to stop that cycle from occurring.
The conversation takes a turn when Joy Behar, a panelist, challenges the narrative by bringing up the contentious issue of Planned Parenthood and its role in providing birth control, which she argues is crucial for preventing unwanted pregnancies. Dr. Carson, however, counters this by pointing out the limitations and failures of birth control due to human error, suggesting that reliance on Planned Parenthood for abortions following failed birth control is a flaw.
Are you against birth control, too?
I don't speak for the Republican Party. I speak for me.
Okay, for yourself. Are you against birth control also?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
The debate intensifies as Dr. Carson criticizes the misconception that he, having risen from poverty, seeks to cut the very programs that aid similar individuals. He clarifies his vision of empowering people to move beyond dependency, sparking a mixture of agreement and skepticism from the panel, particularly Joy.
Programs, and now he wants to withdraw all the programs from poor people.
We do not assume
Wait a minute. I've heard that so many times. You've heard it too. It's a bunch of crap. And what I really actually want to do is provide people with a mechanism for coming out of a state of dependency and climbing the ladder and becoming part of the fabric of America.
This is a great thing.
We agree with that.
The discussion escalates further when Obamacare is brought up. Dr. Carson describes it as the worst governmental imposition since slavery, highlighting its forceful implementation as a violation of the fundamental American principle that the government should facilitate, not dictate, the lives of its people.
Well, it takes me to Obamacare, because you said it's the worst thing that has happened in this nation since slavery. How is it slavery and over 9 million people have it?
Let me tell you why.
Why?
Because this is supposed to be a country that is of, for, and by the people. The government is supposed to be there to facilitate life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. With this particular act, the government comes along and says, don't care what you people think. This is what we're doing. We're cramming it down your throat, and if you don't like it, too bad.
Getting into the war.
As the conversation unfolds, it becomes evident that the underlying issues are deeply polarized, with accusations of partisanship affecting the ability to engage in meaningful dialogue. Dr. Carson maintains his stance, advocating for a government that serves its people, not controls them, urging a return to this foundational belief. This discussion illustrates the complex interplay between individual beliefs, governmental roles, and societal needs, encapsulating a moment of profound discourse that seeks to challenge and perhaps change the status quo.
That essentially shifts.
Because we've done that. That seems to be the way of the nation.
But it shifts the relationship between the people and the government. The people are supposed to be at the pinnacle. The government works for us. It's not the other way around. And we need to restore that.
Okay.
That's very important.
All right. Are we done?
Anybody else?
I just wanted to ask one last thing. I mean, you said that you don't necessarily relate to the Republicans, and you don't really say you're a Democrat either. So why do you feel this way?
I said I don't speak for the Republicans. I didn't say I didn't relate to them.
Yeah.
It's a very different thing.
Is there anything about the Republicans that you don't relate to?
Well, I am not a highly partisan person. The issues that affect us are imminent financial collapse if we don't change our ways.
Forgive me, Dr. Ben.
Forgive me. They're not Republican or Democrat issues.
Dr. Ben Carson, y'all. Members, wait.
Would you like to see more? Click on this next video right here on the right of your screen.